Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope that you're doing well, because I'm doing phenomenally. Thank you very much. This is the 79th episode of the MFer podcast with a 2-week hiatus, and I apologize for that hiatus. I was away last week in Seattle. However, the other issue I've been having with this goddamn streaming platform, I tell you, what's up, Senja Dildo? Good to see you, pal. I typically use this thing called StreamYards, right? You guys, I don't know how interested you are in any of this, but this is the reality. And they jacked up their price like something fierce over the past I don't know, it was like a few months. I used to just buy by the year to save a few bucks. And it was like it was a reasonable exchange financially. It was like, I don't know, 100 and something, to use most of the features of this streaming platform. And then they jacked up the price, and it came out to be something like, it was like $400 for the year or something like that, just to use all the features of this like streaming platform. I just like was mind blown by it, and been looking into alternatives and stuff like that. And I don't know what happened with the field in this market, but it is all just so goddamn expensive. And I even just tried today to like pay for a month just so I could have like my normal intro video and all the regular things. And for some reason, my credit card wouldn't go through. I was getting so goddamn frustrated. But anyway, whatever. I'm back. I'm here. It is, yeah. Dude, it's so much friggin' money. Like, and there's like tiers to it. It's all super pro. Like, this used to be, I'm currently right now, what I'm doing is the free one. So you can still do it for free, but it's like, you got your hand behind, you got, doing it with one hand behind your back, because it's like, I can only stream to this platform. I can't even stream to Rumble. The video quality is reduced. It doesn't record anymore. I can't use any of my assets. I can't use any of my videos. The only video I can use is the one just that's all I can use. And like, I was even though I felt like it was extortion, I was still trying to pay. And so I'm looking into an alternative. There's other websites out there like Restream, but they charge for higher video quality. It's so much crap. I don't understand, like it's weird too. Like, you'd think in this field, there'd be something like, all right, this will be more competitive. We'll lower the price, but no. And I can't really justify that price. That's a crazy amount of money. Like, even for the regular, just pro tier, and they, give me a discount because I'm a customer for a long time. It's still $45 a month for the cheapest plan. That is really, really frustrating. What's up? Hey, what's up, Paulie? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, you're doing the $88 a month deal. Yikes, I'm putting it to work, bro. Good for you, brother. Keep that grindstone going, brother. That's what's up, man. But yeah, a lot of perks, but mucho bucks. And it didn't used to be like this, It wasn't like a gradual increase. Your Netflix goes up to like $13 and $15, then $18 over years. This was 1 year. All of a sudden, it just exploded in price. And I don't know. I guess maybe hosting these web browser streaming platforms is really expensive, but I don't know. I'm gonna start investing Streamlabs and seeing what I can do. But anyway, I'm here this week. Only on YouTube, typically on Rumble and Twitter. But like, I even tried to pay their extorted numbers, and it wouldn't process my credit card. I tried on multiple things. I was like losing my mind, getting so frustrated. But whatever. I'm here today. I'm here now, and so are you. So are y'all. So thanks for popping on, guys. Thanks for watching this episode of the show. I put out some videos recently. Not doing too great, but I have put out the work. So if you're interested in more me, over on the Foulball film and television channel, I put out a review on Alien Earth, where I just mopped that absolute pile of trash. That was a show I genuinely had hopes for. I don't know why. I was just more curious. Not that I had hopes. I was just curious. Totally open-minded. Walked into that show just being like, I don't know. What's this going to be? I didn't watch Romulus because I had no interest. But I figured, a television show, it's like it's got to go on for years. They want to get as much out of it. It's also a kind of a novel concept with the alien motif. And I was like, all right, I'll take a look. Unwatchable. Absolutely unwatchable, in my opinion. Like, boring. no plot development, stupid, illogical characters, illogical writing. Everything about it I thought was just utter crap. And it still has like really high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like a pretty strong critic or audience rating. And like I watched Critical Drinker's review, and he even said he liked the first episode. I was like, what? How? There was nothing in that thing for me to like at all. But what are you saying here, Dildo? Why would they do great? You post a couple vids a year. I mean, that's fair. That's totally reasonable. But I figured 9 views, I'd be able to beat 9 views. Not yet. Not as of yet. But anyway, no. So yeah, that show is a garbage show. So if you want to see my review on it, I recommend going over to that other channel and checking it out. Additionally, I did put out what I think is actually going to be cool. So you know how I do this podcast, right? I do it like mostly every week, not every week, but mostly every week. I try to put out stuff. And I've put out videos, as Zenchadildo pointed out, sort of scantily. I've changed. I've done sketches. I've done like talking head stuff, and I've kind of been a little all over the place and inconsistent, which I totally recognize and take responsibility for. The thing is, like, it's not always easy to like find that topic to make the video about. And I think sometimes I'd find I'd hit the right thing, and then I don't know, hit the next thing, and it just wouldn't hit. But I think a lot of times I was just, trying to scour, like, what's the right topic? How do we, bam, how do we hit the algo and send off? Well, I think the new version, basically it's just the MFer show is what it's called. And it's basically just going to be a condensed version of what I do here on the podcast, but way more produced, way more like written and clipped and truncated, so that there isn't as much like of me saying but the same, just exact same kind of concept, like whatever pop culture thing I want to talk about or whatever particular thing, just sandwiched in a much more concise video. So if that interests you, which I hope it does, keep a lookout for it. It's something I think I'm going to bang out every once in a while. Hopefully, if things are kind of up and cooking, like a few times a week, and you could take a look at that. So, actually putting out content, not to say that you're wrong there, Dildo, but put out a review and a new video where I talk about the Trump flag burning thing and that Disney article that was going around about them being like, how do we get men? And that is up now. So give it a look. Give it a goog. Take a look at it if you're interested. And yeah, that's the show. All right, guys, it's been fun. So last week I was in Seattle. Went to go visit my buddy Michael, which was actually, a lot of fun. Like, not to say it was like actually a lot of fun to go see Mike. He's my buddy. I love hanging out with the guy, and that was cool. And I actually really liked Seattle. I thought Seattle was a hell of a city. It was really beautiful. Absolutely beautiful city. So much to like see, and like it's the way it's designed, like it's very hilly, but it's all kind of built around this big harbor. So the whole city, circles this like harbor. It's absolutely gorgeous. These big hills, and you can see like off in the distance, like the mountains. Like it's a gorgeous city, and it's got a lot of cool ass stuff like in it. You know what I mean? Like there's like where Michael lives is a really cool part of town. Like when you walk out his doors, just you're in a neighborhood. There's like, oh, there's a cool cafe here. Like here's a fun bar. There's a gym right over there. But I will say that Seattle, like if you think of it like it's like, oh, it's a progressive city. It's like you have no idea. Like Seattle is an absolute parody of what if I was like making a town for like a movie where I was making fun of progressive people, I would not go as far as they do in Seattle, because it would just seem like parody. It would just seem like it's too much. Like I'm not kidding, man. Like I don't want to say like literally every, but I do want to say that 90 98% of the businesses, especially that are like customer base where you walk in, dripping in pride flags. Like, it was crazy. I have some pictures I want to pull up for you because it's hilarious. Like, I was rolling my eyes and eventually I was like, I'm just taking a picture of this crazy shit. Like, I just have to like take it just for posterity. And then I figured I'd bring it to you guys and show you what I found. But it is, Seattle is hilariously, there's no other word for it, but they're woke. The whole city is woke. Like, it's crazy. Like when we're meeting people, I would talk to them and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm live in Texas or whatever. And you could see like behind their eyes, like this little flicker of resentment, when I said Texas, like just how that and Hawaii were the only two states where if only men voted, it still would have gone to Kamala Harris. That's how fucking progressive Seattle is. Even the guys are all lib. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I saw your post on your gym visit. Oh yeah. I know. I'm going to show that right now. Did you join his commie polycule? The funny thing is, like, Michael is pretty he's pretty left, but he's not nearly he's just as annoyed by all this stuff because it's like, even no matter what your values are, it's also performative because you're like, clearly you all agree. Like, why do you feel the need to like present this to the world? Like, who is this for? Is this in case you find like the errant conservative who visits your city and can, and you could be like, yeah, we are this annoying and gay. You're like, okay, cool. Worse than Portlandia. I've not been to Portland, but like that, I don't think that show went far enough. If it's anything like Seattle, what's up, Zach? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I'm not. If it's anything like Seattle, no, like they need to go further. All right, so like I said, I started just taking pictures of this craziness, and I'm gonna share some of them with you. I think I can still do that on this limited hobo plan that I have here. Let me see. Oh shit, wrong thing. Okay. Do. All right. Okay. So this is the first thing, and this is just something you might know if you're just like, oh wait, wrong screen. Oh my god. I'm boomering it, guys. I'm boomering it. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm so freaking sorry. I'm sorry, lads. Okay. This is their like big arena. This is the arena in Seattle. It's the Climate Pledge Arena. I mean, come on, dude. Like, how gay? That's the name of the arena. And like, that just kind of sums it all up right there, right? Like, just the amount of carbon resources that went into making this arena. Like the amount of like fuel that was burned and materials that had to be mined and trucks and moving stuff like that. That's it's the whole thing encapsulated. It's literally just a performative thing that you put on it while not living up to your ideals at all. The Climate Pledge Arena. And so then there were these things that I would just see like around, right? So here's another one that really got me good. Me and Michael were walking around. He's showing me the city, and we see like this Tesla, and it's just it has this sticker on it, the anti-Elon Tesla Club. Like, ugh. That's so cringe. I probably should take down that license plate, but you guys aren't going to do anything to this person. And this was on multiple Teslas. I first saw this just like walking around, and then this was on the road. We were driving somewhere else, and another person just had this on their card. It's just like, it's so cringe. Like, oh, you really told him. You really showed Elon by giving him $100,000 to buy his car. Oh, but I don't support him. It's like, okay. I was making a joke. It was like all this stuff. It's like Passover. It's like lamb's blood over the door so that, like, the Pharaoh doesn't kill your firstborn. Like you just have to, like, oh no, 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 no. I'm not part of them. I'm not part of the Elon crew. I would never even think it. Like, Jesus, you guys are so fucking lame. These were all over. These were all over. Wait, what are you saying, Eclay? It's the "I'm one of you, don't destroy my car" bumper sticker. Yeah, 100%. It's just like when they put Black Lives Matter like on all those stores during the riots. They're like, please don't destroy our store. Please don't destroy ours. Probably put it on so it doesn't get vandalized. Yeah, I guess so. It's crazy. But this was on a scooter. This is on like one of those Lime scooters, Abolish ICE. And you see these Abolish ICE stickers all over the whole city. Just abolish it. No human is illegal, especially on stolen land. Wow. You're really getting to something there, brother. Or sister. Probably shouldn't use gendered language. What's going on? What's going on, Nads? Am I chickening out? Why would I chicken out? From what? What am I afraid of? Oh, for watching John Wick again? Yeah, I still haven't watched it. I guess I can watch it tonight. I don't have anything on the docket. I'll go watch that movie and then be reminded again of just how average that movie is. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just mid. I don't hate it. I certainly don't love it. It is just a completely fine, average movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, I know, but why would I be afraid, Nads? I know tomorrow's the thing. I understand, but what is the fear? Why would I be instilled with fear for any reason whatsoever? Hello, Shield and Wall of Dragons. What's cracking? Yeah. These were the ones that were really fun because these are less the sort of like broad grandstanding. These are like specific like Seattle events. Color of Money is a fantastic movie, Nads. Don't you dare. Now these are like the Abolish ICE, anti-Elon Tesla Club. Those are like broad, like cringe as hell, but broad like political things. These are just people just living their lives in Seattle. And this is the real culture. This is I saw this flyer, one-man show, a comedy show featuring, I don't know what PNW's funniest female and non-binary comedians. And also one man. So it's literally, there's only one man. Get it? It's a one-man show. Huh? You get it? Oh. And look at that in the corner. Capitol Hill Queer Bar. Yeah. Yeah, you guys do seem like a bunch of queers. I agree. That's who I normally think of as the funniest people. Women and non-binaries. Always a laugh riot. I really kind of wish I could have gone to this show just to see how absolutely cringe it would be. And I mean, this is like, I think this was when I just first started taking pictures. I was just like, all right, I just need to capture this because it is just so lame. And here's another one. This was a few blocks down from this post. Kickboxing for sensitive people. What the fuck? What does that even mean? Why did they need I didn't make these up. These are all real. A trauma-informed martial arts experience that removes the unseen obstacles that block you from showing up so that you something each class feeling centered, strong, and more like yourself. I couldn't have made this up. This is too crazy. This is too cringe. This is too utterly ridiculous. Kickboxing for sensitive people. The Tender Warrior. What is happening? What are you people doing up there? What is the point of this? Like, what is the point of doing kickboxing? Like, wouldn't that be to kind of toughen you up, right? You take some blows, you get more reflexive, you get more comfortable throwing kicks and stuff. Why would it do for sensitive people? Oh, you imagine how cringe the inside of that class is. Okay, I just want everyone to take a moment to be inside yourself. Now we're just gonna shadow kickbox. We're not gonna, there's no contact, there's no pads, and there's no wrong answers. Everything we do here is wholesome and loving. Unbelievable. Competitive cuddling. You know what that is? It's called Aikido. Are you serious? Are you just kidding? I don't know what Aikido is. I feel like that was one of the martial arts that Neo downloaded in the Matrix. I don't know. You could take me in kickboxing, Nads. Yeah, I you just continue to believe that. I make you feel all warm and fuzzy. You could take me in kickboxing. The audacity. The audacity. Unfortunately, Seattle is run by commies. Oh, yeah. No, I think there's like full-on Marxists who are like, okay, you guys are going a little far. It was I couldn't believe that this city was the way it was. Like, I knew it was going to be liberal. Like, I live in Austin. Austin is like a right-wing conservative like enclave compared to this shit. And the people walking around, freaks. So many freaks. So many completely amorphous blobs, gender blurred, no way to know. Like, there was like, I saw this girl on the subway. She was like, you could see she could be kind of cute. And she looked young, 20 maybe. And she had like, but on her female face, she had like a goatee and like a beard. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, it was bananas, man. The city was crazy. It was so beyond anything I really could have like fathomed. Mike like talks about it a little bit and says this, that, and the other, but no, you just, unless you go there, you can't really understand just how bananas this city is. It's off the reservation. They're floating in the middle of the Pacific. They are not part of the United States of America. They live in their own. It really is like the Chaz. It really is. They've just created their own society. It's bananas. What are you saying, Zach? I saw a video where a guy was teaching stepmom self-defense. It took a surprising turn. I could see that. Did they tap into their feminine energy and whoop that teacher's ass with some leg kicks? I bet that's where that went. I'm shitting on Aikido, Matt. Okay. Yeah, I honestly, I wasn't sure. I don't know what Aikido is. You are low T enough, and I got a good chance. You do really need to fucking watch your goddamn mouth, Nads. Jokes are jokes. All right, low T. Do you even know how to throw a kick? Do you have any idea? You're gonna come at me? You're gonna come at me, Nads? You got another thing coming. Aikido is gay. You say so. I don't know much about it. These NGs are way too gay to even be called communists. They're just low IQ libtards. Yeah. No, they're so committed to their ideology. I've never seen anything like it. It's a cult. They say that about woke people. I think back in the day they used to call it the cathedral, and it really is a cult. I mean, there's no other explanation for this behavior. Really none. I need to get my friend out of there ASAP. Oh, he fits right in, that fucking fruitcake. He fits right in. And so this was the other one. So like while I was there, Mike had to work a few days. So I was like, all right, I'll get a workout in. I'm still chilling. So, still me. So I joined this gym. It's called Rain City Fit. Fantastic gym, by the way. Fantastic. Like the ground floor, which I thought was the whole gym, had so much equipment in it. Great, like the deadlift platform, so many bench, so many free weights, cable machines, all these different squat racks and pull-up bars, kettlebells, all this stuff. And then you go upstairs and there's a whole other floor and all this other, just so much equipment, all the equipment you could ever hope for to work out in a gym. I was like, this is fantastic. Fantastic gym. So I signed up for a day, and then I had another day. And then I saw that there was a waiver, which I didn't even know. I didn't even notice the first time. I mean, I figured it's just a standard kind of waiver, and I just quickly glanced at it. What I'm about to show you is real. This is not, I didn't make this up. This isn't doctored. If you use their gym, vaccines are still mandatory to use our facility. In the year 2025, with all the stuff that's come out about COVID, all the vaccine injuries, all the bullshit, these people still want you to be vaccinated to use their gym. Now, they didn't ask for any of those credentials, of course, because I couldn't give it because I'm not vaccinated. But I was like, what? And the thing is, it says still. Right. So Mike was speculating that maybe this was added during COVID or around that time, maybe in the subsequent year or two. And nobody had like the courage to like remove it. But I think the language, vaccines are still mandatory to use our facility, I think really indicates that no, this is updated. They're like, no, you still need to be vaxxed. Could you imagine being like that? Could you just imagine being that fucking cooked in the head? Where like, not only like, are you still like COVID's real? And like, you didn't look at anything that happened and reassess or kind of refilter the information and be kind of like, oh, okay, there was a lot of hysteria. At the very least, there was hysteria, right? Not just full on authoritarianism, taking advantage of your fear and, doing the largest wealth transfer in history, experimenting with all the limits of their tyranny, how far they could pull it, effectively, removing a president from office, possibly what they say, they fortified the election, all that stuff. You didn't, after all these years, you haven't processed all that. And you, so much so that in your business, your gym, where, presumably you'd want as many people to come as you could fit because that's to make you the most money. Vaccines are still mandatory. And then it gets worse. So you go down, and then above the area where they give you a little preamble, like, oh, we're so happy that you're going to join our gym. And then right before you sign it, we're happy to have you. Black Lives Matter. In 2025. Come on. Come on. Like, at the very least, the organization of Black Lives Matter has been exposed as like a grifting scam, right? The amount of money, so few money went to like the family of George Floyd, these people, the whole meme with the buy large mansions, all the people that just took the money and ran, like at the very least using that. But Black Lives Matter on the waiver to join a gym in 2025. And then the gym itself, just littered with trans flags. Every single, there's a big pride mural, with like the brown people, like that mural, the one you're familiar with. And there's just in every little planter, there were they're trans flags or a pride flag. I learned about a new flag. There's a lesbian flag. Do you know that? I didn't even know there was a lesbian flag. I assumed that was covered, but no, they all need their own little special flag too. And it was like orange and like shades of orange. I was like, is that a new one? Is that the MAPS flag? Like, I genuinely didn't know how far these people were going to take it. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, I really could not have imagined that they would take it that far. But good city. Solid city. I did still like it. We had some great food, went to some cool pizza places, good wine bar. I mean, that's the thing about the crazy libs, right? They do bring the things, at least in the United States. I imagine in Croatia, you don't have to put up with so much goddamn commie propaganda to get good things. But, here in the States, in the cities that have, they do have the really interesting wines or like the imported cheeses or, whatever, the fancy shit that like, good restaurants and bars have. You got to put up with these people. It's like the price of doing business. Lesbian flag has a black eye on it. That's hilarious. Oh, what the fuck? That's hilarious. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got a bloody stain from where she wiped the the right hook that her partner gave her. You will wear a mask, but Orange Man is dictator. Yeah. I was for the video I put out today. There's a little bit in the middle about Mark Maron. Okay, not really Mark Maron, more or less about like kind of this weird comedy pushback. But Mark Maron was out doing the rounds, and he was criticizing like Austin comedy scene and like Rogan and Hinchcliffe and all this stuff, because now we actually do live in an authoritarian fascist government. So can you just stop with the anti-woke jokes, because dubba dubba dubba. Awesome. Yeah, I am spreading fascist propaganda there, Senchadillo. I apologize. I'll learn my lesson. I will do better, as my climate pledge to do better. Oh my word. It was it was a real trip being in that city. Unlike anything I could have imagined, but like I said, nice city. Despite all that fucking ridiculousness. I mean, it really was just exhausting. I think you just have to put on blinders to it. You just got to learn how to filter it out. Oh my God, it was so funny. Alrighty, let's talk some fucking news here. So yesterday, I mentioned this in my video. I would like you guys to give that video a try if you're curious. I think I think it was a solid effort on my part. But one of the things I said in the video was how whenever Trump does something good, it seems to immediately come with something bad, right? Like whether or not the tariffs seem to shake out, I feel like the core of it is good, because it's meant to sort of rebalance the sort of trade arrangement we have with the rest of the world, where we kind of get screwed and the rest of the world gets a better deal. And he's trying to straighten that out, right? Great. Why are you buying 10% of Intel? What's that? What's that? State-run business? What's happening here? Well, I don't understand that. And then it's like, these fucking woke progressive mayors, man, they won't patrol their cities. They will not stop crime. They won't clean up homelessness, and like people just keep getting murdered. So we're going to do something about it. We're calling in the National Guard. Enough's enough. You've had all your chances. Boom. We're going to do it. And then 12-day murder-free streak, probably 13 days now in the city of DC, actually working. However, if you burn the flag, you go to jail. What the hell? I don't want to see people burning the flag, but it is just an expression, right? It is an expression. You are expressing yourself. I would hate to be in a position where, I felt that way about this country. But if I wanted to make that statement, that's incorporated in free speech. You could say, fuck America, right? I might kick your ass if you do, bruh. But you can say that. And that's essentially what you're saying. So I don't get it. And then this happens, and I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And I don't want to be a shill, but I also don't want to be a reactionary either, because both those are lame. But this is new from the Trump dog.
President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and different things, and it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students, or we're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow. It's very important. 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. But it's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before. With Biden, boy, what he allowed that, I mean, they just took him to the cleaners. President Xi would like me to come.
What? Like, is this a gesture of goodwill? Like, is he extending like an olive branch, being like, listen, I know I'm putting the screws to you, but I will allow over 500,000 of your students to come into this country and go to our universities. Now, on paper, there's nothing really wrong with that. That's not a problem. That's okay. We have foreign students. It's normal. I went to school in New York City with plenty of foreign students. It wasn't weird. But there's so much evidence of this country spying on us. Just spying, flat out. And then stealing all the intellectual property. I mean, there was like that guy excuse me, who's the guy from Shark Tank? Is it Mr. Fantastic or something? Mr. Terrific? Whatever his name is. I don't watch that show. But he was like, when the tariffs were popping off, he was like, oh, I wish they'd be more. I wish they'd be 200% because they steal all my ideas and then they just repackage them, remake them, sell them, and I can't take them to court because there's no alternative. So it's like they just keep draining the economy, and you're like, yeah, I thought that was the point. I thought the point was that China doesn't play fair, and we're getting a raw deal. And not that this is trade. I don't know. Is this a quid pro quo? It does seem contrary to what the whole point was. I mean, 600,000, that's a lot. But like I said, I don't want to be a reactionary either. Like, what can anyone provide context why this is a good thing? Why this doesn't contradict what the message is? Seems weird. I don't understand. It's very important to educate your enemy's next generation. Yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting from it. It really feels like that's what it is. Like it's straight up just like, yeah, well, come into our country, learn our ways, take our information, bring it back to the, supreme leader, and then bring us down. I don't understand, man. I really don't understand. There's, like I said, there's plenty of things this guy does that I do think are good. And even if they don't come out, they don't shake out great, like his heart's in the right place. But there's stuff he does where I'm like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing? Why? I also like just the optics of it. Even if it's a type of thing where it's like, okay, we start off by bringing in like 100,000, right? And then you incrementally rise it. But like, are we gonna vet their security credentials? Like, are we gonna make sure they're not working for the CCP? Like they could be. They could very well be working for the Chinese Communist government. I would actually like go so far as to say there's a guarantee that at least one of them will be. We've already had, was it senators or Congress members who've been compromised by Chinese spies, like they were sleeping with them. They are actively spying on us. I mean, that was one of the biggest concerns with the border, right? It's like how many Chinese nationals slipped in the country. I genuinely don't understand what the hell's going on here. I wish I did. If anyone can explain it to me and make me convince me that this is a good thing and this isn't what it looks like, but I don't know. I genuinely don't understand it. Except the thing, like, the things he does sometimes where I'm like, this is so inconsistent. He's still like taking action in DC, right? Like that's consistent with his values. He's like, I don't want crime. Big Balls gets assaulted and then the shit kicked out of him. And he's like, I'm taking care of this. And it's like, that's the type of guy I voted for. That's the guy who I thought was shutting down the border. Exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to do. Bombing Iran. No. Increasing spending to such a tremendous amount, undoing all the Doge cuts, not even codifying the Doge cuts. First of all, what happened to Doge? Is Doge dead? We were riding high, so high for a few months there. Things just keep getting weirder. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Kamala. I do not want Kamala Harris in office, but it's just odd. It just confuses me. They don't even need to enter illegally. That's how clown world shit all is. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. Right? It's like you've just given them like, oh, well, the Chinese government's going to be like, hey, honest Indian. I'm not going to put any spies in those student slots. Like, really? I mean, there was that billionaire, like, what's his name? Something Yo-Yo Ma. What's his name? I forgot that guy's name. Something Ma. And he was talking shit about the CCP, and then they just blackbagged his ass, disappeared for months, and he's just like, yes, sir, right on board, right? Because who knows what they did to him. I don't know. 600,000 seems like a lot from like a country that's borderline an enemy. Imagine that, like during the Cold War, in the 20th century, they're like, yeah, we'll let 600,000 Russians in. Just let 600,000 Russian students come in at the height of the Cold War. You're like, you're going to do what now? Aren't we at war with them? Of course they're going to spy on us. Even if it's not sensitive data, they are going to collect information and bring it back. Right? Even if they're not, unless they defect, but just being in the CCP, you have, is it CCCP or is it China, even just being in China, you're gonna do it just because it's like there's a opposition here. There's a philosophical like disagreement. You're gonna bring this information back with you. I would just imagine. I don't fucking know. Jack Ma? Is it Jack Ma? No, the Yo-Yo Ma. I was just kidding. Obviously, I knew it wasn't him. It's just I knew that was the musician, but I couldn't remember who the Ma was. I think he mistyped too many zeros when he ordered them from Temu. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Just hide your good secrets on the top shelf. Good call, Zax. That's right. That's correct. You're right. Exactly. Yeah, put them over there. I don't know. Seems weird to me, man. Seems fucking bananas to me. But hey, whatever. I don't know. It's tough, ever since the Epstein thing, I just my faith and my zeal for the administration has really waned, has really gone down. I did like it a lot. I truly did for a while, and now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. That was a tough one to swallow, man. That was a tough one to swallow. Okay, what else we got? All right, I guess we'll talk about today's story. Today's big story, the biggest. So there's this woman, what is her name? Insha Rahman, of the Vera Institute. So she is at the Democratic National Committee. And this was her statement. This was her big statement that she's speaking for the American people here. She's got her finger on the pulse. She knows what the American people want, and she's going to tell you. So why don't we just let her take it away?
Issues voters care about. Where does Trump go? Migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets, and how do we deal with mental health and other issues that drive the sort of random incidents that scare all of us. That's what you should be talking about. That's where you should be focused. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that actually don't matter to that many Americans. And then go to the...
They don't matter, guys. They don't matter. You know how we all voted for less crime? You know how that was like one of the biggest issues was all the migrant crime and the fact that, like innocent women were just getting raped and murdered. We don't care about that. Actually, she knows better than we do. So, she's at the DNC. She would know. We don't care about that. I know you think you care about that, but we don't. You know what we care? We care about mental health issues. That's it. That's it. When the dozens of bums on 6th Street are freaking out and dangerously like assaulting like tourists here in Austin, what I'm concerned with is their mental health. What about their mental health? No one has stopped to listen to these people, to hear what's really going on. No one stops to ask. And that's what I am. I didn't know this, but that's what I'm actually mostly concerned about. It turns out it isn't the crime. It turns out it isn't the fact that I don't know how the fuck you slice that whole homeless situation as to being compassionate to just let them like literally rot on the street while just living in a drug-induced schizophrenic stupor their whole life. How that's compassionate, how that's helpful at all. But I didn't know that I thought that's what I thought, but no, what I really think, she knows what I really think is the mental health issues of the age, not the violent crime, not the as Trump says it, whether it's true or not, seems likely, the emptying of the prisons and the mental institutions as people flood into this country and just can constantly commit crimes, take it over apart. But I don't care about that. I care about the mental health. My God. Can't you talk about both things? Well, it's just such a misrepresentation, right? It's the same thing as it's like, it's not drug addiction, it's mental health, right? And we need to, and it's not that it's not these homeless people, right? Have just completely fallen into such a rut and a gutter that there's not really a current way out for them. It's that capitalism's a problem, and we should be concerned with housing first. so they can just go destroy that house and continue to cop fentanyl and just live in the exact same rut that they're into. Now, I was listening to Scott Horton, who I really like, and he was talking about, there really are cases of people who they fall through the cracks and end up kind of homeless because of just how, tough it can be to survive. I understand that. And then you end up kind of taking drugs just to like stay alert and awake because you're literally sleeping on the street. So now it's super dangerous. I imagine that does happen. But when I've encountered a lot of homeless in my life because of the cities that I've lived in. Look, most of them aren't really going to do much to you. You know what I mean? At least they don't to me. But they aren't well. Like this isn't like some kind of service you're doing them. You could literally see so many of them are like they're rotting was not an exaggeration. Like their bodies are like decaying. You can see like they're swollen and open wounds, and it's really horrific. And I don't see on any side of the political spectrum how just allowing that to just fester and get worse and have people living in their own filth is somehow preferable to even incarceration. Honestly, even incarceration, you can get medical treatment. Now, I'm not saying I'd be like, yeah, bring me to jail. That rules. Obviously, I get that. But you just got to start dealing with this situation like adults. This little fantasy land thing that we've been dealing with the homeless, like that's like one of the biggest things. I was like, yeah, good with the DC thing. Like, clean this the fuck up. I don't know what the solution is. Probably do need some kind of like government institution to like put these crazy people, because a lot of them really are just nuts and they just can't function in society. And that's sad. I am sorry about that. But a lot of it is drug induced and a lot of it is exacerbated by the effects of extreme drug and alcohol use. So it's like, we just got to deal with this situation as it is, man. I'm sorry. Compassion's lovely and that's a wonderful thing and yada fucking blah, blah. But like, this is a real problem in this country and crime is a real problem in this country. I mean, there's that the Chicago mayor, because Trump, works so well with the National Guard and all the new cops in DC. And like, there's that Chicago mayor is like, Trump's like, we're going there next. He's like, don't you, it's tyranny, resist, blah, blah, blah. There's like a dozen to 20 or so murders every weekend in Chicago. And that's just business as usual. That's just normal. Treat it as if there's no way, there's no solution we could come up with that could stop that. How is that compassionate to the less fortunate? How is that like bringing up the impoverished? It isn't. They're living in hell. I could imagine living in a neighborhood where like every weekend someone definitely dies. That's fucking nuts. That would make you'd be constantly on edge, constant anxiety, be worried about strays. Like that's a crazy environment for anyone to live in. It should be locked down until it can be stabilized. We live in 2025 in the West, in the United States of America. That is no excuse for that to be this case. Zero. Absolutely none, other than there's like some nefarious plan to keep it like that or to not deal with it as adults. I don't understand this whole thing. This soft on crime shit, I just feel like it harms so many more people than it hurts. Or sorry, that it helps. And there's like this weird fetish with the left to like fetishize these criminals and just sort of coddle them and it's okay. Like there was that video going around on X where that like immigrant guy was like screaming, and he's like, no, don't arrest me, blah blah blah. And then the left were like, you see this oppression. Well, that guy was like a child molester. He had like sex crimes against like young girls. What are we doing? It's the same thing as like going on in England. Like, what the hell? How has society gotten to this part where it's like, no. The violent, dangerous criminals are the ones we should protect. And the citizens who continue to fall victim to these animals, don't be racist. It's fucking nuts. It's fucking crazy. I honestly don't understand it. I really don't get it. I want to stop trying to ascribe such nefarious qualities to these people, but it's hard, man. It is difficult to not just look at them and think like, oh, you're evil. There's some nefarious double game going on here. It's tough. It's a tough one. Such a dildo Your problem is you're too focused on the victims of crimes. Have you ever considered the feelings of the perps? You know what? I guess that's my thing. I just need to have more empathy. Empathy will save the day. It's been working for the past 60 years. Let's keep it up. Matt's homophobia is well known by now. They hate them. Like, I wouldn't want to think in that term when it came to like policy, but I on a personal level, I hate them. I fucking hate them. They're just nuts and gross. And they, I mean, they live in just utter filth, and they're just all scraggly. It's I loathe them. Personally loathe them. From a political point of view of like what to deal with this, I'm far more compassionate. But on a personal level, go fuck yourself. I hate you people. Stay away from me, you monsters. Maybe try recycling them. Soylent Green, bro. It's eco-friendly. I wouldn't eat them. You know which diseases those people have? It'd be like eating a rat. I'm gonna get fucking typhus and bubonic plague. I did hear though that in California, someone actually, some resident, some person there has bubonic plague. What are we doing? We bringing back the fucking plague? It's like a message from God. It's like, you're corrupted. You're sinning. Stop it. Oh my God. How did it happen? Liberalism, Matt. Yeah, no, I that's very evident. I mean, there is a really strong reaction going on in the country and in the world that is rejecting kind of en masse just liberalism in general. Because, I was listening to Sargon of Akkad talk about it when it comes to like Marx and like his critiques of like the liberal kind of society. I don't know if he's right. I tend to think Sargon's a smart guy, but it's starting to look like it really is like inevitable that eventually the state will just continue to balloon itself. It will continue to like overextend itself in this like effort of compassion, right? You're seeing it in England. I mean, the amount of just like, third world immigrants that are coming in there and just terrorizing those people, absolutely terrorizing the children too, like little girls. They don't give a shit about, no concern. I mean, it's like, it's crazy when you hear about the numbers. But it does really seem like this sort of like liberal experiment is over. We gave it a shot. We did what we all felt guilty and compassion. And what did it get? What did it get? We've got some friggin' psychopathic world empire that feels like somehow they'll save the world with democracy by bombing the shit out of everyone that they choose, that they throw a dart at a board and hit, and like that's and that'll save everybody. There's millions and millions murdered, the $9 trillion that the Iraq war cost, and just the endless cycle of all this stuff, and then ballooning and bloating and growing these government programs that really seem to only but keep people in the same situation, if not even worse. I think everyone's just sort of waking up and being like, yeah, no, that is bullshit. I disagree. I really do think like the next wave of kids, like the Gen Z kids, and just, like imagine growing up in England right now. Imagine being a kid in England and not being like incredibly right wing. Like, I don't know how you could live through that and not just like really develop some severe like right wing points of view. If you knew one of these girls, if I went to school, if I was pretty right wing as a kid anyway. But if I lived in England at that time and that's what was going on, man, yeah, no, it'd be pretty wild. Liberal white women is how, yeah, white women, definitely. I mean, it's the boomers though, man. It's really the boomers. They got propagandized so much. They didn't scrutinize much, despite what they lived through with Vietnam. You think they'd be a lot more cynical to the government, but no, they just, they've been brainwashed into believing that the government is the right action, and, liberalism will save the day. And then they just kept, regurgitating that to everybody. No one scrutinized it. The more critical thinkers who looked at things like the New Deal and realized like actually extended the Great Depression. It didn't help. It made it far, far worse. They're like, we're not even going to deal with that. We're just going to keep, telling the kids that this is the way. It was the greatest thing that ever happened. was the 60s and this liberation from this old conservative worldview that everyone used to have. And now we're all better off. Despite all the evidence. What's up? Boosh. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Am I religious? I don't know. No. I mean, I think when I sit here religious, I feel like that it's the all the activities that go along with it, like, actively praying or actively reading the Bible or going to church. I don't do any of that. I mean, I feel like I have a relationship with God, but I don't feel like I pray the way it's kind of the formal prayer. And I don't go to church either. I have been reading the Bible. I have been investigating it, but I never really I wasn't, I was raised by boomer libs. They didn't care about the religion because they had such a bad relationship to it when they were kids, because they went to Catholic school and they're all, we don't want to do that. And then, they're all enlightened, right? All enlightened libs. So no is the answer to that question, but I'm way more warm to it than ever in my life. And I like I said, I do believe in God and I do believe in Christianity and I do believe in Christian values. So wherever you want to place me on that spectrum, I'm no Melanie Mack. Okay. She's a zealot and I'm not nearly, my zeal doesn't match hers. I could certainly learn from that crazy eyed person. Good liberalism is retarded. It certainly turns out to be. It certainly turns out that, just can't work. Can't sustain. It's a nice little idea. Marx had the same critiques as conservatives of the day, like Carlyle. Well, it's the thing is, right? Like you can have the same critique with a different solution in mind. Like I remember one night I was hanging out with some coworkers, and like pretty much most everyone I've worked with in like the service industry is pretty liberal, because it's like you don't make all that much money and you work really hard and you're like, it's got to be somewhere better, and there's like blah blah blah, and they're just they know what they know. They don't know all the other stuff. And, most young people are pretty liberal anyway, because that's just what's taught. There isn't really like a comprehensive education in this country. But anyway, point being, we were talking about all this stuff, like the country and the future and this, that, and the other. And, their problem, I got to it with them. I was like, what do you think the problem is in the country? And they're like, oh, it's corporations in bed with the government. And I was like, yes, I agree with that. I think those powers influencing our government is a real problem. The difference is your solution is to grant the government more power. It's like, well, it took two to tango with that whole government being in bed with with big corporations. It wasn't just like the corporations infiltrated that, the government covertly. It was they agreed upon it. Oh shit, what up? Cool. What's up, Cajun Corey? Tugs Raid? Nice. Oh, that's sweet of them. Very nice. That's cool. They're good girls. I like them a lot. That's very sweet. But it's like, there was a handshake here. You know what I mean? It wasn't an infiltration. They agreed to be taken over. So to me, the only solution is to just shrink the government power, right? You have less government power, and then these corporations can't do much. So it's like we agreed. What's up, X-Ray girl? How you doing? Good to see you. Hello. It's like we agree on the problem. We just disagree on the solution. Same as Marx and Carlyle, right? It's like, yeah, we see these are problems. Marx wants to destroy every society that absorbs his ideology. And I imagine Carlyle probably has a different point of view. He wants to shrink the government and kind of make it more like the constitutional republic that this country is supposed to be. And that's where I'd like to lean towards. I mean, the more I listen to the libertarians, the more it's I can't find fault in their argument, especially the ones who are the more kind of conservative leaning, not the guys who are just hedonistic, who are just okay, there's no rules except I don't hurt anybody. It's like, no, we just want to kind of end the Fed and end the global empire and all the foreign wars so that Americans can afford to buy a house and afford healthcare and not live in the craziest tyranny. So, yeah. Yep. Both sides, the same flaws, but have radically different solutions. That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I think that's if our education was more tailored to having like objective conversations and analyzing both sides of an argument and seeing like where do we overlap, we do agree with critiques and look at certain situations, but our government, the way our government education goes, like every single time the left wing liberals got involved, it worked out great. It's like, wow, that's just not the case. But that's the education we get. That's the education we get. Where are we going here? We got that woman not caring about crime. Hilarious. I got some funny articles here. Okay, let's go with this one. This was a fun one. Okay, so bro, the media is nuts. So how like people have, there's like lots of different, speaking of having a different solution for the same problem, there's some people have relationship issues and some people kind of like, you don't know how to handle it. And then there's like different, go to couples therapy. Maybe you guys pick up a hobby together. Well, the New York Post has a different suggestion for you. So let's see, maybe you guys can try this out, implement it in your relationships and see if it works. So this taboo sex act could save your relationship. Experts, these are experts, guys. So you got to listen to the experts. Experts insist. Catalyst for conversation. So that doesn't sound so bad. Just a conversation, just a catalyst for a conversation. What's wrong with that? I like good conversation. This is a conversation. It's one-sided, but it is a conversation. What the cuck? Sleeping around might seem like the ultimate relationship killer. It might seem like that, but it could actually have the opposite effect, according to one unconventional expert. It's an expert, guys, okay? So before you get all, wait a minute, letting my wife get banged by another guy probably wouldn't be good for me. Listen to the experts. Listen to the experts. British woman Andrea Winters claims that watching your soulmate, this is her claim, watching your soulmate have sex with another person could conversely be the secret to keeping a marriage thriving. Yes, trust me, bro. I'm an expert. Look, she's an expert. What do I know? What do I know? This is what the experts are saying. It may not spring to mind when you think about ways to keep a relationship afloat, but cuckolding can be invaluable. I imagine to Miss Winters, it probably is. Winters, who authored the book So You Want to Be a Cuckold? Who the fuck? Who's just like at the bookstore, just browsing books? Like, oh, okay, it's a book on World War II. There's a book on the fall of Rome. Oh, so you want to be a cuckold? Oh, perfect. That's what I came here for. Sachs is going to clip that. Told Jabra, depending on why a relationship is in trouble, it can absolutely save it. Well, she's not peddling anything else, right, guys? This is just her expert advice. There's no other product here implied. The Skinfluencer, also an expert. The Skinfluencer, who frequently shares sex tips for her over 57,000 Instagram followers, said she was in a cuckolding relationship herself, and it did wonders for her life. It did wonders, guys. Did you notice that it was in the past tense? Did you notice she was in a relationship that was cuckolding? Yeah. And it's definitely not an ad for OnlyFans. Yeah, fantastic point, Senjin Dodo. This is a real article in a real newspaper. Now, the Bristol resident wants to usher this taboo behavior into the mainstream. This will become normal, guys. Your wife will get pounded out in front of you, and then you'll be happier. The experts say this is the key to a long-lasting marriage, is watching your wife get dicked down by another man. That's the key. It's what we've been missing this whole time. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Eureka. Boosh. It's withhold, not cuckold. Cuckold is a man who doesn't know. Withhold is a man who knows and either likes it or doesn't care. Oh. Maybe Boosh is an expert here. Maybe Boosh has applied this. Boosh, have you applied this to your marriage? And did it work? Did you get healthier results, more positive results? I don't know. For many couples, the lifestyle acts as a catalyst for conversations. Yeah, I bet they do. I bet there's a few conversations where maybe a few lamps get smashed and eyes get bruised. Just conversations that might be otherwise remain buried about fantasies, unmet needs, or unspoken curiosities. The sex servant. Sounds like she's like works for a Roman senator. One of the biggest challenges in long-term relationships is that we stop being curious about each other. So let your wife get piped by another man. You seriously doubt it works this way? Yeah. I got a feeling you might be onto something, Shield Wall. You might be onto something, buddy. I don't know. I've never tried it, and I'm certainly no expert. So maybe that's the key to a long-lasting marriage. She said that this is counterintuitive. You got to trust the science a little bit here. Just trust the science. The counterintuitive seeming kink helps reintroduce this curiosity in a safe, structured way, allowing couples to re-engage emotionally and erotically and helping them break their romantic plateau. Notice there's not an exchange here. She's not encouraging wives to let their men sleep with other women. That's just not on the table. So you're with your wife or your girlfriend for an extended period of time. You guys hit kind of like a lukewarm kind of area in your relationship. And then you introduce another man while you watch. It doesn't even say participate. While you just sit there and watch. And this woman's saying, that's the key to happiness. That's the key to a successful relationship while not being in one herself. She was in one. Yeah, maybe he got sick of watching you get piped by other dudes. Yeah, maybe. And like provides no statistics, provides no examples, provides like nothing, just these sort of platitudes and sort of grand statements about what could and what might happen. No, like, oh, my friend, this happened to, and now they're happier than ever. Also, I'd love to hear from the dude in that happier than ever relationship, but nothing. No examples, no statistics, nothing. Just go out there and destroy your relationship based on the strength of this hooker, this online hooker. Unbelievable. Hello, Adam. Adam Method. Siegel got cucked many times after he allegedly either immorally, unlawfully, illegally, wrongfully, or morally, legally, lawfully, rightfully banned from YouTube, then moved to Rumble or Kick. Huh? The hell are you talking about? I don't know. I know Sneeko is. I don't know about what you're saying about all this stuff from getting banned or whatever, but okay. Boosh. Let's try it this way, Matt. Matt has his censorship cranked to 11. What's going on? Oh, I don't affect the censorship in the chat. I have no I know. I think that worked great, Matt. If I had relations with all of her friends. Let them out of the kitchen, they said. Let them vote, they said. And look what happens. She's advocating you watch your wife get piped. Oh, boy. Oh boy. For example, older couples who have been together for a long time may not have done much exploring, and this allows them to have experiences with other people, whereas younger couples are much more open-minded and aware of fetishes and fantasies, so it could be on the table from the very start of the relationship. This fucking idiot. I was listening to Sam Hyde's show one day, and he said something I thought was very insightful. It's like they say, like, when a man is young, right? When you're a young man, it's like, oh, go sow your wild oats, right? Like, get all that, out of your system. And then he's like, yeah, I think you can get that into your system too. And I think he's right. I think, like, when I was younger, I was probably much more, I don't know, like, not say like not adventurous, but just more like comfortable, pairing up. And then over the years, it kind of like it thins out a little bit. It's like it is like the right thing to like just get hitched young and just stick it out. I don't really know, but I certainly do know that if it takes me watching my chick get piped, I guess I'll stay single. I guess that's the way it's gonna have to be. There we go. Just imagine relations in a different word that starts with the letter F. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say there, Boosh. But there you have it, guys. If your relationships in hot water, things aren't going as great, watch your wife get pounded by another guy. It'll do wonders. Well, someone else can run that experiment. There's another article too by Lad Bible that was pushing the same thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's like some psyop to like drop this on the public right now. I don't think it's I think it's a different woman. It's a different person. Yeah. There's another article. I'm not going to bother reading it, but there's just another thing where it's like, oh yeah, it's something else you can do. Swapping, soft swapping. What the fuck? I feel like if there's one thing this country needs, it's to be like less lustful and less like sexually like explorative. We probably need to chill with that. I think we got a little off the reservation there for a few years. I think we need to all come back home a little. If you could read, it would have made sense. I can't read. Sorry, Boosh. I'm an idiot. I apologize. But it does work for that chick to watch the dude get banged by another chick. I doubt they're down with that one. Oh, I can't imagine she'd be writing a book about it. I can't imagine she'd be leading with that, because that's I imagine your chick comes home one day and she's just like, I know we've been going through a rough spot, but I think I got the solution. You watch me get piped. Like, no. Maybe I'm being a little hard on women right now. Maybe I'm kind of giving them a hard time with this one, and I don't want to do that. I'm a feminist, right? In my heart, I'm a feminist. You guys know that about me. Something I've displayed very vividly over the years, and to that end, to that concern. I saw this article today in the Daily Mail. The 5 worst states to be a woman. Do you guys want to know what the 5 worst states to be a woman are? Shocker. They're all red states. These are the worst states to be a woman. Oh, what do you know? The mainstream media has got that opinion? It's color me shocked. A new study, a shocking new study has found that the 5 worst states for women are all Republican-led. Guys, could you believe that the mainstream media would make that point? That the media that has been accused for years of having a liberal bias would have an article criticizing that red states are the worst for women. I do love these things because they provide like no evidence. Adam, I'm sorry, by the way, I'm still an autistic man. I always accidentally say things. Oh, that's okay. I didn't know what you were saying. I was just trying to figure out what you're getting to the bottom of. What the fuck does the Daily Mail know about the American states? I don't know, but they've got some strong opinions about it, despite being all the way over there. If I lived in the UK, right, I'd be, and I read a newspaper, I'd be like Sargon. Like every day it'd be all about migrants and all the sexual assaults. Like that's all I would talk about. That would be my thing every single day. I don't understand how like these newspapers don't run those stories all the time. Bush saying it's so terrible. A woman being outside of California, they're held accountable. The horror. Well, you haven't heard the reasons yet, so maybe you'd agree. Jesus, look at all the ads on this fucking website. It's crazy, and you can't run an ad blocker on Daily Mail and still use it. Like this is unviewable. Like, what's the article? Everything is just ads, video ads. Okay, shocking new study has found that the 5 worst states for women are all Republican-led. I mean, I could have never predicted that. That's crazy. Wallet Hub. Well, they're the that's my go-to for polling. Wallet Hub collected data on all 50 states to determine where women are treated the best and worst, fellas, and based on everything from wage gaps to health to political representation. Ensuring women's equality requires that more than simply giving men and women the same fundamental rights. Really? Oh, it requires more than just giving them the same rights. Oh, yeah. We've been piecing that together over the years, guys. We've actually started to notice that what you're talking about is not equality. It's equity. Is giving people other shit that you feel entitled to. Yeah, we noticed. We noticed the equal rights thing actually didn't work out for you. You didn't love that because that meant people then had the equal ability to fail. And you're like, whoa, that's not what we meant at all. What we meant is that, you give them your money. Oh wait, no, oops, sorry. Fuck. Okay. Let's see the full breakdown. Utah, number one worst state. All the 50 states, this study's findings suggest that Utah had the furthest to go in terms of women rights. You hear that? If you live in Utah, you hate women. Utah has been considered the worst place for women to live in the United States for the past 11 years. Oh my God, how have they survived? This year, the Mormon stronghold came dead last for workplace environment and education and health. Oh no. Sencha Dildo, so they only use metrics that don't matter. Lol, who could have seen that coming? I could have never predicted that this would just be some liberal slop. Would have never put that together. Wouldn't have guessed. Not in a million years. Utah has some of the notoriously largest wage gaps and executive position gaps. There's no executives, guys. There's no CEOs in Utah who have ovaries. Isn't that oppression? Women just day in and day out not being CEOs. How do they survive it? How do they get through their lives if they're not in charge of a company? I don't know. It's brutal out there for these girls. Last year, full-time working women in Utah earned only 73 cents for every dollar a man made. Well, that's the only data point you need. That's it. Do not bother investigating that further. Don't ask for context. Don't ask for qualifications. Don't ask for, full time. I imagine there's like different variants. Don't ask for overtime. Don't ask for any of that. Literally just she makes 73 cents. He makes $1. Inequality. Horrible for women. Sometimes people get married and they have what's called dual incomes, and the woman doesn't have to make as much as the man, but they could still live a prosperous life, especially in somewhere where I imagine the property value is quite low in a place like Utah. But, it's oppressive. Conducted a survey in 2023 in which 24 people shared what they believe the largest problems with the women face in Utah. Oh, I'm sure women and girls from a very early age are taught in this state that their very existence is substandard to men. Their existence is substandard to men, one participant wrote. Good Lord. It's like feelings. It's literally like feelings. It's like, that's why it's not great to live in this state, because we feel a certain way. It's like, first of all, when was that? I would love to see the curriculum that you're pointing out where women are taught they're inferior to men. I can't imagine it's fucking Sharia law in Utah, but according to one participant with absolutely no substantiation, they are taught that they are less than women. Okay. This article sounds like it was written in 2012. You do get, don't you get that? Every once in a while, you get these like relics from the past. You're like, you're still doing this, huh? You're still trying this nonsense, even though it never works. Okay. It's like, all right. I mean, I respect the hustle, respect the grind. Just keep at it, The same thing with the cucking thing. You're like, it's not 2018. It's not 2017 where you can put all this wild feminist crap out there. People are over it. They're not buying it. They know it didn't work. They know it was just you talking, blah, 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 blah. There's too much nonsense. All right, take it easy, Shewall. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Shout out to that one participant. Absolutely. That one quote participant probably works for them. Until we are seen as equal partners in the home, at work, and on the steps of the legislator, and that's where the real key comes in. Until we have the power to force politics on you that you don't want and don't work, well, now it's bad for women. One woman touched upon religious pressures, specifically within the Mormon faith, saying that women feel from a very young age that a lot of their worth value is based on becoming a wife, mother, homemaker. Can you imagine the audacity? The horror of being the most important person in all your children's lives? That figure, the Madonna, the figure that the men cry out for when they're dying on the battlefield. Could you imagine being a mother and a homemaker? What the fuck? You need to be out there grinding in the corporate world, getting crushed by the horrific bureaucracy that is the modern working era. And you need to give away all your good years to that and then desperately try to settle down with the last few remaining years you have to have a kid. That's the real life for women. That's fulfillment. Oh my word. Come on, Matt. You know Sharia damn well Sharia law is only practiced in the UK. That's true. That's true. We've somehow managed to skirt that. I hear France and Germany, they're very Muzz curious. That's what I understand. Raised in a large Mormon family in Utah, Hannah was the eighth of 9 children. Damn. She now has 8 children. Damn. Holy shit. They're like starting a nation. 8 children with Daniel. Though she trained as a ballerina. Oh, wait. I missed this. I missed the whole introduction there. Hannah Nealman, 34, controversial Utah-based trad wife influencer who runs Ballerina Farm in Kansas with her husband Daniel, 35, caught the nation's attention for her values and lifestyle after the Sunday Times named her the most well-known of this particular brand. Yeah, it's a weird thing to mention there because it kind of contradicts everything you just said. She's like a influencer, big old happy family. This whole women definitely need to work thing is crazy. I don't know. Like, wouldn't you be happier with a big family, with everyone being happy? I'm not one of these people who like, yo, no women in the workforce. But it's just like, it just doesn't seem to be panning out for these broads. Doesn't really seem to be making them happy in the way that it's been advertised. It's like, I do think probably the most fulfilling thing that many, not all, but many, many women can do is to have a family. Unfortunately, we don't really have an economy where only one person can work in most situations, unless you're some really high power executive type guy. But this whole dissuading women from like reproducing, it's like, it seemed kind of just sort of benevolent, like, oh, this is just sort of misguided liberals. And now it just seems malicious. Now it really does seem like they're just trying to destroy the American family. They used to make fun of that as like this kind of right-wing conspiracy that they're trying to destroy the American family. Oh, it's not. And people would like mock them for being like alarmists. But no, it really does start to put all the pieces together. It really does feel like that's where this is going. Get liberated by the corpo cubicle. Absolutely. Absolutely. Back in your wagey, cagey feminist apps. That's what I'm saying. That's the true American dream. Texas is the worst state for second worst for its low health and education rating. I do hear the education here in Texas is not the best, but their definition of good education is probably not one that I would align with. Idaho, Arkansas, Louisiana. Yeah. So, don't let your women live in red states or they're just going to be horrifically oppressed. They'll be forced into a life of fulfilling child rearing and a warm family. They can live happily amongst their loved ones till the end of their days. What kind of a nightmare? What kind of a dystopic nightmare are you pushing on these broads? What are you thinking? What are you doing out there? Blue states lowered the education standard. Oh, yeah, that's probably true. I've heard some stuff about that. I've heard some stuff about them changing a lot of different things to kind of fit their narrative. Gets inconvenient when you start, it's like that whole thing where it's like equality, right? It's like there were legitimate issues like in this country for a long time that, it's kind of easy to blow past. But, interracial marriage was illegal in states in the United States in the 20th century. Like, that's crazy. Like, that should not be the case. That's a little nuts. So it's like, it is easy to kind of a push back on all this liberal crap because you're just like, oh, well, fucking enough. But the problem is that, once equality is on the table, it's like, ask any guy, like just being equal. It's not like, woo-hoo, every day's a party. It's like, no, you just like, you don't have any extra shackles on you, but that doesn't mean things are just like, go time all the time. It's like, being equal kind of sucks, because it's like, yeah, you're just a person. But, if you're privileged, right, if you have all these extra things that make life, a party all the time, then yeah, that would be great. And I think that's what they think, equality is. It's like, oh, by equal, I mean like extra rich and powerful and influential. Like that's only equal to a very small minority of people. Like you just equal opportunities. Like, oh, well, we don't start at the same starting place. And they're just trying to rejigger everything. It's like they really are just trying to upend society and reform it into their own image. And you're like, okay, we're not going to do that though. It's like, well, you're a fascist. It's like, fuck, fine. Okay, I'm a fascist, whatever. Like, whatever you're going to say. It's like that shit bounces right off now. You're just like, what? Okay. You know, it used to be like, you hate women. It's like, no, I don't. I don't hate women. I just did it. Now you're just like, okay, fine. I hate women. Whatever. You just like a bing. It means nothing. You're like, if that's what you, if that's your description of it, it's fine. I sure as hell don't think that, but I'm not going to bother arguing with you, idiots. Low in education and thriving. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting combination. It's like almost like an asset to like not be educated the way they are. All right. Skirt. $55. All right. One last little thing before I go here. And this is fun. Just another fucking activist broad taking an L here. This is from the Blaze. Left-wing lesbian atheist Oasis singer mocks liberal comedian who said he stole her audience. So Oasis singer Noah Gallagher, so you guys may know, very popular, famous, influential British singer-songwriter, notorious for the long hiatus him and his brother took, and they're back on tour. And I guess they're in Edinburgh, which is a big arts festival in Scotland, where a lot of comedians go. I've heard like comedians that I know talk about their time at Edinburgh. And it's like a month-long thing, and there's all these different performances or whatever. But unfortunately, not everyone has a great time at this. Katie Smurthwaite describes herself, at least she's using female fucking pronouns, as a comedian, writer, activist. Oh, I bet she's a barrel of laughs. I bet she's a hoot. This comedian, writer, activist. Audiences may remember her from the plethora of culture war clips dating back almost a decade, where she defended feminism, political correctness, and more, often resulting in her ridicule. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that is exactly how I define comedy. Activism. Smurthwaite was attempting the stand-up comedy portion of her career at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last week, and unfortunately, her show coincided with the Oasis concert during the band's comeback tour stop in Scotland. She posted a video for the venue last week showing an empty room 25 minutes after her show was supposed to have started. Aw, that's too bad. She said, "This is the Oasis effect. Big groups of people in the Oasis shirts are not interested in my show or anybody else's. They're just everyone's off seeing Oasis." Now, the thing is, he had something to say about that, and I'd like to hear what it was.
Are there any left-wing lesbian atheists? Get show of hands. What kind of a culture are we in? Huh? Come on. Disgraceful. This next song is for all the atheists.
That's pretty fucking funny. Even for England, right? Even for England, who's, I guess that's Scotland, but Great Britain, who's going through it right now. That is still pretty funny. And, it's one of those earmarks. And it's very easy, especially with the news cycle that we live in, how much information we're constantly bombarded with. But it's very easy to see, things day to day and get comfortable with that day to day. But I do think it's important, and I try to do this, to note the really dramatic changes, right? Imagine that happened, this exact thing happened. Some like activist lesbian chick posts a video and from her empty show, which you should be full and you should listen and not necessarily laugh, but nod along knowingly. And then this famous guy makes fun of her and makes fun of the lesbian atheist thing, a bit of a slam. Like, it would be a news story. There'd be a gigantic pushback. There'd be all these, they'd be trying to cancel them. There'd be, a tweet storm, all this stuff. And now it's just a funny aside that I feel like most people probably didn't even know about. I had to kind of go look for this. And this was a week ago, 10 days ago. No word, no, nothing. And those are those little things that, like, I think indicate how much the culture, obviously, the United States and Great Britain are not the same culture, but we do share a lot of things. How much things are changing, how much that doesn't work anymore, and people aren't into it, and all the capital. I was going down a old rabbit hole. There's a documentary by this guy. I want to say Andrew Callahan's his name, but that might not be his name. But he did a whole like documentary about like the rise of Sam Hyde and his time on Adult Swim and how that got canceled and all that. And they, there were these clips of like Tim Heidecker of Tim and Eric show talking about Sam Hyde, and they're calling him, white supremacists, right? They're saying all these white supremacists, kind of Nazis guys, and they, we got him fired or whatever. And back then when that happened, I think that's like 2016, 2017, right around then, when that happened, people would hear that and then just immediately be like, oh, well, that's horrible. We don't want white supremacy. I wouldn't want to watch white supremacist comedy. And if those guys are Nazis, they shouldn't work there. It's like that. And that was, you didn't have to substantiate it. You didn't have to back it up. You could just say it, and that would be enough, and they'd be fired. And that, now you hear that and you're like, what did he say? Like Trump's doing a decent job or something. Like it doesn't, those things just don't work anymore. And that is a really significant thing to take like gratitude in, because it's like, it used to just be that easy just to get rid of people you didn't like, performers you didn't like, accuse them of being a Nazi or a white supremacist or hating women, and they're gone forever. And there was, no height with which that wouldn't take you down. And now that's all gone. That is all friggin' over. Hello, Sherry. Hello. Good to see you. Heidecker used the woke shit to take out the competition. It's that simple. Yeah. And that was the that's how it was. And that was entertainment for a while. I talk about that in the video I just dropped. So give that video a look, guys. It's a little bit of that. I talk about how different the culture is and how much, it's just not like that anymore. That just doesn't work. You can't just snap your fingers and cancel people because you don't like them. That's gone. That is fucking long gone. Anyway, all right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the MFer podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, X-Ray and Tugs, for the raid. That was super sweet. That was very, very nice of them. Lovely, lovely ladies. If you're not subscribed to those girls, go give them a subscription, man. They're taking care of me. Scratch my back, gotta scratch theirs. They're good people, though. So back to weekly shows and hopefully some more videos. Keep an eye on that. Also, Foulball Film and Television. Got my Alien Earth review out there and a video on Layer Cake. I'm working on another video right now. I'm going to keep this content train a-rolling. So you gotta watch. You gotta watch. You gotta like. You gotta share. You gotta help me help myself. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I thank you guys very much. I will be on Zach's show tomorrow for What's Good Wednesdays, where we're going to be debating the different film years. So keep an eye out for that. All right, folks. Freaking ta-ta. Bye now.